In today's edition of Airborne, Avidyne and Aspen team up for Digital Autopilot installation in Cessna 182s. President Obama blasts aviation during Wednesday night's debate. NBAA blasts back. And Boeing inks deals for up to 160 737s. Welcome to the Friday, October 5th edition of Airborne. I'm Ashley Hale. The FAA has granted an STC to Avidyne Corporation for the installation of their DFC90 Digital Autopilot in Cessna 182 series aircraft when interfaced with the Aspen Evolution Pro Primary Flight Display. This initial STC covers the DFC90 Autopilot as a plug-and-play retrofit of existing STEC 55X systems in 16 models of the Cessna 182 Skyline series. Over 20,000 of these specific models of aircraft were built between the years 1961 through 1985 and 1997 through 2012. This is the first in a series of DFC90 certifications and aircraft with the Aspen PFD. Follow-on certifications are expected to include the Beechcraft Bonanza and Baron series. The DFC90 is currently certified in Cirrus SR20, SR22s, and Piper PA-46 Matrix and Mirage aircraft equipped with Avidyne's Integra displays. President Obama took another swipe at business aviation during Wednesday night's debate, saying, quote, "Why wouldn't we eliminate tax breaks for corporate jets? My attitude is, if you've got a corporate jet, you can probably afford to pay full freight, not get a special break for it." That statement drew immediate fire from NBAA President and CEO Ed Bolen, who released a statement following the debate criticizing President Obama for the remarks. Quote, "At a time when both candidates claim to be putting job creation at the top of their agenda, it's unfortunate that the president tonight denigrated the business aviation industry, which is responsible for 1.2 million American jobs and 150 billion in economic impact." Bolen said in the statement, "The president's comments completely mischaracterize the businesses and groups that depend on an airplane, the majority of which are small to mid-sized businesses, farms, flight schools, medical care providers, and emergency responders that use the aircraft to connect communities and grow their businesses. That's why dozens of governors have recognized the industry's importance, and over 100 mayors have written the president to ask him to stop attacking it at a time when many businesses and communities are still recovering from the economic downturn." Well, South American airline GOL has made a deal with Boeing for the purchase of 60 737 MAX airplanes. GOL plans to use the airplanes to increase operational efficiency and reduce cost. The order is valued at approximately $6 billion at published list prices, making it the largest order in GOL's 12-year history and the largest airplane order from a single airline in South America's entire aviation history. This order puts the 737 MAX at 724 firm orders to date. Among those are 75 airplanes to be acquired by GECAS, a part of an order first announced at the Farnborough Air Show this summer. GECAS and Boeing finalized the order for those aircraft, along with 10 next-generation 737-800s. The order also allows for up to 15 additional 737-800s. The total price tag comes in at $6 billion at list prices. Well, it seems there are some screws loose at American Airlines. In the seats, that is. 3 American Airline 757s have been found to have loose seats during flight, causing the airline to temporarily ground 47 airplanes while the seat attachments are checked. The most recently reported incident came during a flight last week from Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas to Vail, Colorado. Two other incidents occurred over the weekend, one on an American flight from Boston to Miami, which had to divert to JFK in New York after an entire row of seats came loose. 12 other rows were also found to be loose on that same plane after landing. And another incident occurred Monday on a flight that had originated at JFK and then had to return there. No one on any of the flights was injured due to the problem. Since then, 4 additional 757s have also been found to have loose seats. All but 11 of the airline's 757s that were grounded for inspection have been returned into service, according to a report by the Dallas television station KTVT. The airline is still determining how the seats were improperly reinstalled after regular maintenance. The airline has officially blamed the problem on improperly installed locking mechanisms. But the local president of the Transport Workers Union said the problem only began after American started outsourcing the work to reconfigure its seats last month. "We've been doing these seats forever, and we haven't had problems with them done in-house," said Gary Peterson. You're watching Airborne. More when we come back.
Redbird Skyport is a multifaceted aviation laboratory charged with developing innovative solutions to the issues facing the industry.
It started out as a vision for a laboratory where we could objectively measure the systems and the processes that we were developing. Being able to put some objective measures behind the anecdotal evidence that we have about the value of motion and the application of this technology is very, very important, because until we can objectively measure it and play that data back, we can't design training systems that make the best use of it.
For more information about Redbird flight simulations, as well as Redbird's new Skyport, visit www.redbirdflightsimulations.com or www.redbirdskyport.com.
Welcome back. If you'd like to suggest a story for Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or a podcast, send us an email to news-by@aero-news.net. The America's Challenge gas balloon race lifts off tomorrow evening, Saturday, October 6th. The event is part of the week-long Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta. But for the first time, it will be an all-hydrogen-powered affair. ANN's Glenn Moyer explains.
Ashley, the culprit here is a worldwide helium shortage that is threatening to stifle this prestigious long-distance gas balloon race. Decisions by the world's helium producers and actions by the U.S. government have virtually locked down the world's remaining supply of helium, making it all but impossible to obtain for sporting purposes like the America's Challenge. And if it can be had, it's very expensive. Albuquerque TV station KOAT recently reported that the cost to fill one of these challenge balloons with helium has risen from about $3,500 to upwards of $12,000, while the hydrogen fill is a much more economical $1,000. The result is that those pilots with only helium-capable balloons will simply have to drop out, and a race that normally features about a dozen international teams will see only 5 balloons flying. Still, organizers expect a competitive race. Past events have seen teams stay aloft for 3 days and nights and travel deep into Canada and almost to the East Coast. While helium has always been the gas of choice for America's gas balloonist, it should be noted that hydrogen-filled balloons have flown in previous America's Challenge races, and hydrogen has been used for ballooning in Europe for decades. It's interesting to note that on Monday, October the 8th, just 2 days after the scheduled start of the gas balloon race here in Albuquerque, skydiver Felix Baumgartner is set to attempt his world record-breaking skydive from the edge of space in Roswell, New Mexico. And the vehicle that will carry him to his jump point 21 miles above the Earth, a helium-filled balloon. In Albuquerque, I'm Glenn Moyer for Airborne and the Aero-News Network.
Remember LightSquared, the company that caused such a furor over interference with GPS receivers? Well, they're back. The bankrupt wireless broadband company has petitioned the FCC for approval of a plan it says will resolve the interference issues with deployed GPS receivers. At the heart of the plan is a pledge not to use the frequencies that would cause the interference. The company petitioned the FCC to modify its license application to allow it to use 5 megahertz of spectrum that have not been part of the interference debate. And it seeks to use an additional 5 megahertz of bandwidth that it would share with the federal government. This all according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. LightSquared has not given up completely on the so-called upper portion of the spectrum, but it said it will wait until operating parameters and revised rules for terrestrial use of this spectrum are worked out. The company said it will cooperate in that endeavor. It's time for this week's barnstorming commentary. ANN's editor-in-chief Jim Campbell says that following a recent story on AOPA, which appeared on aero-news.net, reader reaction was strong, to say the least.
Thanks, Ashley. Hi, folks. Well, yet again, it's been an interesting week back at ANN HQ. Following Monday's story on issues we raised with the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, its competitive stance with a number of its member companies and individuals, and a series of complaints that we keep getting and have been getting for a number of years. Well, let's just say the bird seed has hit the fan. It's been kind of interesting. But the upshot is this. We've had well over 1,000 responses. 7 of us think we're full of bat guano, and the rest seem to think that we're onto something. Now, I'm sure our percentages are much higher than what AOPA is getting because, let's face it, people are far more willing to complain to us than they would be AOPA. But it's a sad thing because instead of the discourse and the conversation I wanted to strike up with AOPA, instead, well, all of a sudden we've got personal attacks, character assassination, and the like. Folks, let me explain something. I'm a patriot, and I believe in every sense of that word. And patriot for a lot of things, my nation, my family, the people I care about. And caring about people and the things that are important to me means caring about aviation. To paraphrase Thomas Jefferson, who had to deal with all manner of hardships in seeking the truth. When the people fear their leadership, there is tyranny. When the leadership fears the people, there is liberty. We shouldn't be fearing anyone in this situation. We should be speaking out. And yet the interesting thing, out of the 1,000+ responses we got, there are people who feared what AOPA would do if they became aware of who it was that was complaining. Let's start a discourse. Let's try to be polite. Let's not get into the name calling and the character assassination. And for the record, yes, my parents really are married. No, I didn't participate in a Lindbergh baby kidnapping. And by the way, I don't kick small puppies. I have a German Shepherd here who will be happy to testify to that effect. But honest to goodness, folks, we need to be talking. We need to be kind to each other. We don't need to be hurting each other, competing with each other, or getting in each other's way. We need to be supporting each other. We need to be looking to the future, crafting something that can survive and make aviation better for the future, for us and for all the people we care about, thereby being patriots.
Finally this week, a Cessna 421 literally wound up in high cotton, but its owners still made it to the football game. A group of fans heading to the Alabama-Ole Miss football game aboard a Cessna 421 on Saturday proved that for some fans, football is the most important thing. The plane went down after suffering engine problems following a lunch stop in Selma, Alabama, and attempted a forced landing on a dirt road, but wound up in the middle of a cotton field, leaking fuel about 20 miles from Craig Field in Selma. The emergency landing was a good one, and all 4 occupants were apparently uninjured in the accident. This according to television station WPMI in Mobile. The story might end there, but there was still a football game to get to. When a farmer who lived nearby saw the plane go down and got to the field, the man convinced him to take him to a rental car company, where they rented a car and drove the rest of the way to the game. And they made it to the stadium just in time for kickoff. However, when Dallas County Sheriff's officers got to the accident scene, they were understandably puzzled to find a lightly damaged airplane and no one around to explain what happened. The legality of leaving the scene of an airplane accident was unclear. The NTSB removed the plane from the field on Tuesday. Well, that's our program for Friday, October 5th. Quick, concise, and convenient. You're always up to date when you're airborne with Aero-TV. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again this Tuesday with another edition of Airborne.